Hey everybody, Bobby here from the GM table, and when this video comes out, it's Christmas Day, so I kind of want to give a present to all our players out there who play Wizards. But also, I want to make a video that, you're probably not going to actually see this on Christmas, so it's useful for everybody. And that is, I want to tell everyone who's playing a Wizard why, realistically, they should all multi-class now. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to go 20 levels of Wizard, that is fine. But if your game allows multiclassing, to point out, multiclassing is an optional rule. But if your game allows multiclassing, and you guys have Tasha's Cauldron of everything, and again, if you're allowed to use it, which really you should, there is almost no reason you are not multiclassing. Why? Because one level of Artificer makes every wizard better. Okay? I'm not going to open the book and flip through it. This is visual aid. When you multi-class Artificer, there is one thing that makes it very, very powerful for wizards. While multi-classing, you count as half of your Artificer level rounded up, which means one level in Artificer does not affect your spell slots. You still count as a full caster as long as you don't go that second level of Artificer. Also, if you multi-class into Artificer, you get light armor, medium armor, shields, and thieves' tools. You also get tinker's tools, but how often do those actually get used unless you're doing an Artificer spell? All of this sounds great, but the real key is Artificers don't have spells known. They know all their spells, which means the second you take one level of Artificer, you get all the Artificer spells. The only limit is you can only prepare a number of Artificer spells equal to your intelligence modifier, assuming you have one level of Artificer because it's half level rounded down. But if you're a wizard, you're already pumping into int. Assuming you eventually hit 20 intelligence and a +5, because we're talking about people who are trying to get the most out of their character, so we're going to assume you eventually go. But even at a +4, which I think is very reasonable to assume you're going to hit at some point, that's 4 to 5 Artificer spells you get to prepare every day. And that is great because they include a ton of wizard spells, which means there's spells you don't have to pick up as wizard, as well as cure wounds and a few cleric spells. It keeps everything on intelligence, which is why I think it's even better than like multi-classing cleric. You don't have to deal with the RP kind of hoops and figuring out why your wizard has one level of cleric. Going Artificer makes total sense for a wizard within the narrative. You don't have to make anything up. Now, do you take your first level of wizard or your first level of Artificer? Both have strengths. I definitely think your second level should be the other one. If you go wizard first level, you get intelligence and wisdom as your save proficiencies, and you get your spell book, which as a wizard you are going to need to have. If you take your first level in Artificer, you get intelligence and constitution as your saves, which is just amazing. And you get thieves' tools, but you don't get a spell book. So either way, you're going to either have to buy a spell book or buy thieves' tools. I would say start with wizard to get your spell book, and then later pick up the con save through a feat, because if you're doing multi-classing, odds are you're doing feats, and pick it up as a feat down the road. But if you think you can buy a spell book, or if you talk to your GM and you know you can buy a spell book, because it's not going to really run more expensive than buying thieves' tools down the road anyways, then start with Artificer, because that con save is massive. I mean, a wisdom save is not bad, but that con save is massive. Now, yes, you lose one level of wizard. What do you actually lose? Well, wizard has least class abilities. You get your arcane tradition stuff and everything else is just spell slots. Those don't get affected. So your arcane traditions come in a level later every time. If you're picking up your second class, either wizard or Artificer at level 2, that means you don't get your arcane tradition till level 3, which is still a common level for everybody to get their subclass. So you don't really feel that far behind, and kinda your subclass is Artificer in a lot of ways. You do get your other arcane traditions all one level later. The biggest thing is you get your ability score improvements one level later. You miss out on your capstone, your level 20 ability, but what is that? You get to cast a 3rd level spell for free once every short rest. So you miss out on 1 fireball every short rest. Let's be honest, it's probably going to be fireball. But that's not that bad. You have so many spells by the time you're 20th level, if your game even makes it to 20th level. Let's be honest with ourselves. So you're not missing out on much. That's the capstone ability. You don't, it's a 3rd level spell you don't have to prepare, and you get to cast once for free every short rest. It's good, but you're already getting the 1st and 2nd level spell you get to do that with from an earlier class ability. So it's good, but is it really great? Is it really worth not getting every single spell the Artificer has access to for free? You get to be a wizard with a massive list of spells, because you're still getting all your wizard spells. You just, anything in here that would be on the wizard list, don't bother picking up. You already know it. On top of having light armor, medium armor, and shields. It is so good. You also get simple weapons, but actually, no, that is kind of important. You get all simple weapons instead of the very limited wizard list. But the wizard list kind of covers what you would need anyways. You're throwing spells around with this. Honestly, to me, it takes what a wizard is and makes them an adventuring wizard. It makes them more capable of surviving in a dungeon. If you start with the Artificer at level 1, you're guaranteed 2 extra hit points. If you're taking average, then taking Artificer at level 2, you get 1 extra hit point. It's not a huge shift of hit points, but it is a little bit extra. The Artificer does get a D8 instead of a D6. But at the end of the day, the things that really matter is you get armor, and you get a ton of spells. Plus, you get Thieves' Tools. And Thieves' Tools are just really useful, especially for intelligence characters. Remember, tool proficiencies aren't always linked to one attribute. There is dex checks with Thieves' Tools, but you can argue for some intelligence checks with Thieves' Tools for puzzles and traps and stuff. So with that, I hope this was a nice little Christmas gift for all my players out there, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye!